say now no, it's not 2.4, but it's 5 million. Yes, of people are being diagnosed in a year. And yes, I be a cost, but I am fact. You don't pay much attention to that. I am being say I be a tear, a be a malaria, be and then I rush to the hospital. But a bad you may race and I a boy a ferry, the stigma attached to it in and their own.
We are meant to believe that I will be son and I do a area. So that is how come people are not able to come out to talk about it.
Yes. There's stigma attached to that scrubbing you can be on. And so baby drew fee and I say obeko prayer camp be and I will be who bit me as an area than the hospital. And you know with epilepsy no and I try area no human being and kasano we have some little form of electricity in our brain.
Okay.
Yes. And so necessary no say be a light no one say a doom na so a doom na so na we either turn off the main switch and I say be a obi fi hono you are trying to escape because when we say be a bit matija. So na adwene so tie.
Okay.
Adwene so electrical charges and also no the womb no sorry to say but I must ahoma na womb no ebia ne de o se oye ebia wo de o se oye charges no obia obia okọ signal e best need to we now can we and send body now react.
Okay.
So now say signal now say send no and I say electrical charges no edwuma o say ye no say ntimi anye and I say efum ne kwan and I say e kwan na o say efum no when it become blocked and I narrow that and no adwin be confused.
Okay.
Ntino adwin hu signal no hu be on far so on far left so on far right and they confused now since the brain also controls the body no my body so confused.
Not technical.
Yes. And so I confused automatically the body also become confused. Until I'm paying people who are not trash, you know. Because edikai a pewo adwinimu ansa na eba hu namnim dada. Until I koye adwumia yo na abeye psychiatric condition, you know. Until the case epilepsy is the abnormal electrical charges in the brain.
Okay.
Until chechimo na mediama.
Remember Isaac we also. Waka say ahomanu mu entimi enko the baby say call ABS call left and I say call red light now call red light now call yellow now call forward now. Eba na say na ahomanu etimi yesa.
Okay, me da se papa. So na because unya nkyere me twi ne ye ntimi so me de rapokasa na be frafra mo kakra na yakoyedim. Odikaka say abnormal electrical charges. Every human being there and electrical activity that goes on in the brain that helps and I said the body to function very well. Because even in our daily life, in the studio highway, without electricity, some things may not work out. So electrical everything will not work out. Electrical activities now cost no ebuama hunamno edi ninjuma e wo say edi. If there is a misconduction of electrical activity, a bitimi are result into that China as epilepsy and I can't want some. But with epilepsy, no, it is as a result of abnormal electrical discharge. And yet, omo epilepsy no kwa na omo sa electrical activity na e wo brain mo.
Okay.
But omo de no, it is as a result of an abnormal electrical activity that is causing that either abnormal discharge or excessive abroso. Current I was say chemical activity I was say cause no more than it's like abroso. So when it happens like that, no, it is manifested in a form of seizures. Say benipa was so kakra. You can signs and symptoms, but then just to explain, was so ne signs be brave ye be so say worldwide no. Currently we have data from World Health Organization WHO just said annually about 5 million people are diagnosed with epilepsy, but in total no, globally we have about 50 million that are globally diagnosed with epilepsy. Not just a disease of public health concern. Yes, baby found it can be preventable or non-preventable, but then you do sa afano so you be can ho asem and seizure no so no and say ubinya seizure ba ko pe say wanya epilepsy.
Okay.
It must be continuous and mostly unprovoked not just a shrinkano not just a no ankasa aba. So experiencing one seizure is common with every human being, In fact, data from World Health Organization say about 10% of people may experience one form of seizure or the other throughout their lifetime. In that, we see it to be normal. Once a while, something may trigger it to come normal, but then say beto so be brain no eno na emane epilepsy aye yare ankasa no. But say once seizure be the friend seizure. So many factors could account for that. I think as going forward, no yebeka factors are a bit lead to epilepsy and as a seizure. So generally in this we are able to miyama a fast a triare and as a epilepsy no. And yes, spiritual. Misconception wa be brave.
Se can pay the desk why they will be there Toma. Let's see, because me who the cause of it ankasa. Is it say e be a stress and ma adwene it me yes and I did mu be a yen did ye and ma adwene it me fa so ma we no so am nkasa obo abodam. Bodam. I'm question.
Okay, today okay, the person what brings about this condition. So yeah, we went to the causes of epilepsy, and I said causes in the intimate any at the potential because it be a udi and a money ban as a when dear money but we have some predisposing factors and maybe and you should more address say and on a bit me sa condition we happen and then maybe yes and no so my so yes condition. And you know, first thing I can talk about is head trauma. Now when they are not in pain, you can, especially when you muchi bicycle ne motor no, or when you accident and tempano master no more because they think all is well. So for us,
and you're fault too. Many accidents that, so I know what I'm talking about. I mo just share now the nancy. Motor ne bomb and I'm sorry, you know. No, I just took my bag and I was going. I didn't know I said bibi abode. It's Piotr Arabia John or prompt him and say, Madam, when the accident too. Before I stood there for over 2 minutes, I said, I mean, Phyllis said, me 9 a crobby, I mean, I started shimming. You don't even know what is going on.
Yes.
And when I'm a tea, I said, so because I'm a cocoa, about and I saw being kind, be a fan of Brabo. It's so real. Yeah, it's a more moon at all with the battery fashion.
Okay, in that point in there, I accept that. But the fact in Bakono say, oh yeah, aware, Ebia was sorry. So fast and baby and any yano, or you say be no making imponent to go on, but so fast when ya any cut or blood beer fin baby and bano or you're fine. And table on my yaka show say no, you go home or better say pain no honor, but person will never mind. And I work with painkillers, or work with family, some ointment, be their massage and honor, I fine. But it become a accident, as a result of that, in be a massa, ya no happy. But who knows? Instead of paying pinus, be a accident, we don't pay for that, but a accident, it can happen to anyone. In Tinabana Sana and Tempan, I'm betting for checkup.
Okay.
And the bonus why you will be say
before you continue, I want to know, sir, when you accident, once a many accident, and then make my question me 3 months, be I say there's nothing. Should I go maybe a year time or something to go and check, say, maybe you're okay?
That is so perfect.
Okay.
That is so perfect. That's what we want everybody because of sick. I said, I didn't, you know.
Oh, sure. But we check here. They said everything was okay. No, then I have to go back. Because I tell you, I'm here, maybe I'll confess someone to myself.
Yes. Because of sick, I said, I had the same economic hospital. But ideally, no. I'll say, okay. Says, if we have the resource in Quadia, with me, I can not check up on. The very birth injury.
And just casting now for my Isaac.
So, if I can, Mr. Esther Kayano, so many factors could contribute to epilepsy. Or can head injury. Head injury, no, it could be as a result of a car crash, accident, or as a result of a fall. So, what tear will feel, tiles so and so good, so what tear your head hits the ground. It could cause some effect on your brain, and later a bit me at the aba. And no interest nitiba homenya accident akanya kemenya epilepsy but debi depends on the impact of the crash no na ebema sebisa condition betimi aba. Apart from that, we have birth injuries. Birth injury just say yeah wo abofra na injury be etimi ba or the trauma comes as a result. For instance, abofra no bia na ye wo no ofie nipa na oje awo no doesn't have that expertise to handle the delivery process. Ena na no timi ye de be nye omunyina na e wo the needed skills a omodeje ema awo. So in receiving the baby no they are not mistakenly abofra no tie bo bibi kakra that delivery process no unnoticed. So abofra no nyini a it could have some effect on the brain. Okay. And it could lead to these seizures and as epilepsy and also account and prenatal causes no so ebia abofra no shey efrum or ebe wona maybe he already has that cause of ebia ndro and say pregnant woman ennom onnom nyama bia say open for na ye for instance so much stressful activities as a pregnant woman taking unprescribed medication draw a doctor and kase nom no eno na wo de ogina mu a wonom efise wonom a in a way no it makes you feel fine kakra and I said you are bia say wudi as a pregnant woman. All these things could contribute to the effect on the brain development of the child. In the painful be one normal throughout pregnancy. Apart from cerebral epilepsy, and also your condition be a friend of fetal alcohol syndrome, and also hard drug use or alcohol use during pregnancy. No, a bit me desire or how no abre abofrano. I won't here. Apart from that, and also we have a degeneration of the brain condition be a friend of dementia. Yeah, dream how. Dementia na say is mostly affect the aged. Unyi no na adwene so the way I was say regenerate enya honde no eba from kakra. So definitely to affect sa chemical activities na wo adwene mu no. Nti all things being equal, the electrical activities will be affected. Okay. So the degeneration of the brain from this condition we call dementia can also lead to epilepsy na ye kan wasem no. And also the use of drugs, drug abusers, sometimes and also it may trigger epilepsy way and as a child way. A bit minimum trauma. Sa you from mobile, sana afa central nervous system. Let's say it has effects on their brain chemistry, hence seizure and as a epilepsy. And also that trauma, no alcohol, weed, cocaine. Any drop one bia ye betimi aka ho asem no omo tanom saade na timi de sa how no ebrewo mo na e free so what do you call it genetic conditions I know there is you have some little chance to prevent it. You may not be able to do much about it. Genetic predisposition which is sometimes malformation of the brain. Also the more the brain forms very well, the easier the flow and the function of the electrical activities in the brain. In this adrenal formation, definitely electrical components of it also will be in a way affected. Now, just say later in about family life, and also be timid or how number. Maybe about Friday in the moment. So we have childhood causes. Okay. Apart from say birth injury, no.
I was going to ask you, say, more to me, but since I can't say a woman,
exactly.
But I'm more tissue,
papa. And I want to bomb with so papa. You see, childhood factors, no. Apart from say about from birth injury, trauma, na. And I say the abofra na accident, is na okaniti boho bibisa. One major one, which contributes to about 20% of childhood seizures a year. Convulsion. Okay. Childhood convulsion. In Chim, almost say a stroke cabofrano. And I say, a stroke cabofrano. And see, a stroke cabofrano to so now the child doesn't get a good management in a way it can lead to epilepsy. Maybe I say about 10% of the population is likely to get one seizure or the other throughout their lifetime. It be to me during childhood stage, you know. But then the continuous recurrence of convulsive attack no na bit me lead to epilepsy. Bit me anya baako pe convulsion baako eno nkire se wanya epilepsy. Nti nkola no enya early childhood convulsions na is not properly managed and also ebetimi amma abofra anya epilepsy no. You do preventions no say na ebetimi asa no ye better tackle aspect.
There were types of epilepsy.
There were types. The types that we can talk about, we have two main types. We have the generalized epilepsy and then the partial epilepsy. When I say generalized, it's derived from the word general.
Okay.
In the case of a general, we are talking about the whole, from head to toe. It affects every part of the body. And we have, under generalizing, we have stages. The first stage you can talk about is the oral stage. This oral stage, say ba in Pacono, the very common and pimping who any permanent say one with team. We have something called epileptic cry. Crying at the end, I mean to mean who I have, but Obia or the rear or city mufa. Everyone says, a day eschew, the real city moon, some of them mature. And say, we have the epileptic cry, or team, not or call off.
Your body has the Amaya now for the movie. Because you used to be, yes, Obi Kikaman or you say, in Alaska.
At the early stage, the most common one, your commands I'm talking with division about corner first, a muque ye na in the Pacono shade before they realize or screaming, the best just went off. Aha, to Uncle about that, and Copper Babano, him, theatre was na, Madame for BOTM, and all call ye, aha, and it's here. Table also or tea beer, fast small beer, and we had deems a perfume. And you'll be an o perfume be o timi adma bo hwan ma e bo no pa obi o sa condition e bo no pantin to te sa perfume na obitimi akọ off na masa cry na ba na okọ.
Can't that also be asthma?
Yes, asthma force will be by a little part of epilepsy so te sa sentina.
Okay.
Smell and I even taste ebuduane bi okwampa odina se bia kana ka chema so na se o taste duane na it can trigger it na ba. Aye, no. And it will be said the tonic stage. And no a bar and Pacono, simply kind of occur off now. Boom say respiration is actually arrested. Boom in a home in campo in so now for self or quite banana nino. Really and no, it doesn't take long, about seconds, about 5 to 10 seconds. The bona and on that stage, the third stage you can talk about is the chronic stage. With the chronic stage, and a bar, say there will be violent jerking. They say, and on a banner, internet a banner, say, men for a 3 question in no because all that 3 question in no more. Nothing, no accounts as well. Trust me, on San Ebete, because a bar with violence or that in line everywhere is jerking.
But why are we advised who say will be a trap for 3 sharing? And I'm not sure for mom. But who say Obi? Not me senior B will be with school. In fact, sometime you'll be by na mobile, no original stairs to OC. It's just margin or pre-free stairs as well. And then people say move out 3 because that is all that everybody knows.
For that perception behind, I can't really tell, but I be moving say or can you see to probably say stroke never ban so say then you tin amodi yes to prevent say a man say no say be cause then you but
cynic obinya bi na na sekasi so a enya hwe
no at the normal circumstance no say obi etwa ye giant pakono
okay
to go under the process the onkum the best thing wo pakono be no be man say you push away every object be an ade bia onu say ebitimi epra no say bia wetwa hwe bia onu adwane wetwa hwe ye intimate you just take the coal pot or the gas away from the person e bia o hwe any tighten cloth bia wabo belt kuntan bia na wabo tie bia na bia you just losing it just to obenya emfama because at the second stage I said the respiration is being arrested untimi ne home kwampo inzisu ntino or say we yes animal no man dem boni pakon into obejae no to undergo the process. Young fat in Shannon, young friends who engu nipacono so, young cotete have by fancy nipacono. I didn't be about before they bring the person to the hospital. No, however, born in home, if you share and what be or you Ubusan was oh, and by Chinese shows they be a sensible to the card leaves Nasrano. Like, I know they are trying to save the person's life, but ideally, no, my couldn't go the process to move. And after that, we have something called recovery.
Okay.
Recovery ne say wakom nyina na jerking no eswetwa nti abasa makorum say obetimi adda for hours about 3 to 4 hours obetimi adda into deep one na bona or should I say snoring I say ohumi a we say what say sound ibem in the form of as also no because wabre once you try make a campona say ujina ho once you be panting into no sa hoden na ode ye no because there was the muscle became so rigid not to instant as okun bi no okun na we wie into e bansa na obebre into obeda ode we so a obeshowe na why so disoriented ubusa na say dey na ti kwampa on kai ba kumpo into pempi na advise say semba ko na akuma wie no obebo nipa kon ba ko na asore ordinary chance we are I didn't know say wo mabako orientation to what happened ebia ebo kampo na nkrom na baaye nti madam pacho you say guitar bag na unam krum na akota ade nim de baaye na utwahwe na makono
you know there's a perception that ehun ni eba
empempin but the reason why nti ehun ni pa eba
why
okay the reason is o say bo ha ka say bia unam krum na baaye now no okay so we have something called triggering factors these triggering factors no and we put on more say and I say who is exposed to that thing na neighbor nti pempin say unam krum na eba because ekrum de wo ho
okay
a place na mpede de bebre nti na ekrum no we preach we ton cassette we ton edru market women so shout
for card na no
good no boss wa ben bo kampo a unam no boss wa ben bo kampo no epileptic that noise alone can let the person go off and ekrum so no obia ne de oton ebi mu ton on say we have nkofo bia mo ton ade bi ai na omu de gu ade na omu de jegu so na omu
ye machine o
e obi business
obi de bi akra as o di manim enti kono okono we den ya ho na wo so wo fa na ma di akre
enti obo hono mu a because of our condition no enti no semba kono you exposed to that thing na ebetimi amanaba na wo krom so ntimi ka say your personal environment bi na say wo fie wo ye den obi ye moko hyehyehye wo na wo bo wasa ebetimi a enti na ye bo ha ka say ewo nipemu a na aba wo yi ase omo bo nwum gidigidi make empo not speaker no ho kwampo na ode sa bo na ba kono watwa ahwe enti pempe ka say bia ewo nipemu a na aba
I feel like ase my umbrella signs and symptoms of epilepsy.
Thank you. Signs and symptoms. I think before we came to triggering factors, we said about the types, and she was trying to explain some of the types. Okay, generalize and localize, and that's a partial one. So generalized one I was explaining can be oral stage, tonic, clonic, and here generalized any panel on severe one, and that's the process the person goes through.
Okay.
So cry now, okay, sometimes they are respiratory muscles. The muscles now relaxing, contracting, yet me humino is arrested. The it forces air into the larynx, and on any panic sound, we would see the next thing could be that. And now say the person experiencing some unusual feeling in the stomach. Sometimes because autism if we hear a sound be that means that a baba. This is for people, and that is why we'll be talking about some factors that can trigger it, and hunger is part.
Okay.
So stages back obia okay say nipa no be so be jeke no. At that stage muscles are contracted. Banasa is possible say nipa no se be obetimi agenso agunu ho. It's possible that the person can even ease on himself or herself obetimi akotolet agunu ho. Anya nepe but muscle control is lost at that moment. What you say? Nti no so say yes sa side no so nya ono ani pese penyi na say abofra wako certificate na say be wako agu. At that stage no so when the muscles are well contracted they are able to even bite their tongue. Omo to make calm touch them. Nti mo say nenum say be na ehuro bi whitish foamy substance bi pie from one when you nyina na experience sa but most severe cases they experience such foamy substance in their mouth, biting of tongue. And then sometimes so almost secra cabo so I can even cause breakage of the teeth in the crumple. Now we saying about why I am already attraction and sometimes yen nanum was arguing say or can this so I be can touch them or say but at that moment medicine has gone further to say it is not the ideal thing to do because yes and also the tongue can even be made to go back and to block the airway. We are even killing the person faster. But what you say? So these are some of the things you have to consider. Signs and symptoms. Sorry, before I move to signs and symptoms, partial one and as a local one no any severe to say generalized one
okay
and it can happen to a part of the body. Sometimes it can be as a result of maybe a brief loss of consciousness so one review and also betimi ayebia ukita pen all of a sudden a pen na drop here from some we be serve you drink glass ukita na boom glass na free in some and any pet but it could be some partial seizure being an epilepsy experience. So it happens in so many forms. Intina, I was share the two kinds of seizure and as epilepsy no so the generalized one and the partial and as a local one. The whole body is not involved with the local one. All right. Sometimes sudden shake because you in sabe also kakra bi pet na ejai. And so now sometimes okasa cramp all of a sudden na easy until in cabium and also could be another form. These ones are not major cases. Yeah. So the triggering factors are a bit me a Kenya sa arena mana bano. Mrs. Esther the camp bobi so but maybe be so. Triggering factors in the arena ewoni panomu deda. But what to trigger it to come? Then ebe Kenya na manaba. Hunger, a com, and bebre. If you are having such condition, you starve yourself for food and water for so longer, a bit me a trigger amanaba. Because the brain will not get the needed energy or the nutrient to work, and that will also affect the electrical discharges again. Then you may end up having the seizures. What I say, and extreme anger, it can trigger it. It's normal, it's part of life, but it should be well controlled. So before the as if say destructive anger no is likely to trigger epilepsy as a channel and or the kind of say so much noisy environment and pesa. It is a disease that does not like such noise. And then also what do you call it, a strong scented Mr. Anonso and then height and height. Because who was I arena be akwa jina be poko say interchange we say na jina soro food be jina so na chef from grandpa. Sometimes without even looking on the floor you feel you are suspending in the air. So that's I am sure no can trigger the seizure to come. And I say ebia obi abom hu prekupe you are in a room, somebody opens the door, boom, prekupe sano, it can also trigger it. There is one interesting triggering factor yeah, man for but it's also one reason. Sexual excitement. Sexual excitement can also trigger it.
Really?
Very sure. So, you are into sexual activity, excitement level, no, it could trigger that seizure. You may not know. You think the person is. Oh, and I make us say, in such a situation, you may not be able to control it, but it's a factor that could trigger it. So you see everything in moderation. Kakran, what you say?
Too much of everything
is bad. What you say? So that excitement level can also. And some emotions, extreme fear, the big boom who and some medical kind, and extreme sadness. Emotions can also trigger it's a beba. And extreme excitement. Apart from that sexual bit, you know. So what the good news be? Hey, American lottery where we knew. Hey, any GM so. As I'm now trying what pass you. Extreme excitement could also trigger seizure episode, especially so you'll be a war. Sometimes we don't know people have it, but until say something will trigger it, you know. So these are some of the factors that are able to me triggers at the end. And also Obiani the way I need the eba. Everybody and the way they manifest it and what triggers this. The end to me in cap pot say, would you know win a bit me a manaba? What I say? And now omo a draw so omo no me draw and they take the drug intermittently and also can trigger that episode because ndrona ayema eba management so the ndrona ayema is just to control the frequency of the seizure no. Nyankopon do maybe there to make completely. Even so there once a year, twice a month, twice a day it happens and also the drugs help to control the frequency of the seizures. Nti eduane potebia eni ho a e ka se udi a ebetimi ama wanya sayare no but ebia na obi se on the odi nkruma enema no ba so it is perceived that nkruma enyema epilepsy.
Very
good. It is not tabooed in that. But then, ebi awo na ewa also na wedi na eni na ko shia.
Okay.
Enye mawa, you have studied your body, it's good to stay away from it. But it doesn't mean say there's other person too who have to stay away from chroma. Maybe I know my favorite, and I eat. It doesn't do me anything. What you say? So nothing taboos. Say diani biya, enchi diani biya. See, no. So the no so I think we have to move to
the rest of the signs and symptoms. I'm sure say
yes.
And all that. Can it be cured?
Epilepsy can be cured based on the factors that led to the epilepsy.
Okay.
Yekeka causes no, yekeka be brain tumor, tumor kind of sense growth beba nipa tumor. That's the least I can explain with my chi. Tumor it could be a cause of epilepsy. Infections can cause epilepsy. Infections such as even malaria. If it's not properly treated, malaria parasite are very stubborn. It can cause so many things. So, a meningitis, infection of the brain, and a spinal cord, so that infection too, and also it could lead to seizure and hence epilepsy. And even stroke for so betini anya epilepsy because.
But can epilepsy lead to stroke?
Stroke can lead to epilepsy.
But epilepsy can lead to stroke.
It's vice versa. It depends on whatever is happening in the brain. Because stroke leading to epilepsy, the brain is deprived of oxygen.
Okay.
Because of that stroke. Now, as a stroke, sometimes body needs to be as a paralyzed. So the flow of blood in your easy, so it affects the brain activity. Stroke can be a triggering factor and as a leading factor to epilepsy. So you ask whether it can be cured. It can be cured, one, with good management.
Okay.
And then also the kind of factor edging the by. Maybe out there a brain tumor and a lead to epilepsy. Nyamiadum neurosurgeons and good surgery, perfect surgery, brain surgery to take off that tumor. It is likely that your epilepsy may be cured. But what you say, maybe out there infection related. And so if that infection is properly treated, it's possible that you may not experience that seizure and epilepsy again. But what you say, so and that's why we say it is curable. But some form of it now, curable, no, which is manageable, no, could be the genetic aspect now, and I say brain degeneration as a result of aging, a condition I feel dementia, no, and that's the brain does not regenerate again. And so it's very difficult to say wait to me, I cure completely. So far as I would say naturally the body should also be regenerating to be able to help the treatment process. So we only manage some aspect of it, but to say totally cure that one in medicine we never say never. Medicine we never say never. Wait remember say you started don't know once, but be there when you're be there once a year. Maybe I mentioned say is to control the frequency of the seizure and predator eba. But with good management, you know, or no be a day or maybe 3 times. You don't know what me and Manasa be a bosom bako pena bako beba. Maybe also once a year na bako aba. That means we are controlling or we are managing it. But to cure it completely, when the identified factor, no, it means when we are able to tackle that identified cause and as a factor, no, we can say
okay, how do we prevent it?
Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe I can be about the triggering factors, and me did to become about the weather. Also on special or pay. We know a condition or but no a condition or dim 24/7 at the day. And so team and about yes, because the boy in the day no team be attack be twice. It's possible to be more than 5 or 6. Okay. Nebo also one time she maybe one more with more condition. Yeah, also or share area at least a business Charles Becca now you don't explain to that bear back now we're money dear but can your body ultimately she be because they be also sound nebo her lights are no yet dim be brain because so to me dim because them why possible say a bit me am a number. Okay, so before I move on to the prevention, maybe I say management. I am the my madam medicine madam I can say it's always any signs and symptoms no and eschew. So I say the opposites of the signs and symptoms. Ultimately this one you are being prevented. So a boy no more the only be no. We advise say be a mistake no bofem or be a bad house everywhere we be a and as be a car accident and a motorbike or bicycle car. Try as much as possible to go to the hospital. And yet they be an alcohol bit make us be when you are but your physical even well-being also counts as well. Until we try as much as possible to go. And I'm pimping no share mothers no mothers parents. I cry at the I mean can't remember no. But I na knocks no anu ye din but me back na akwan kan posunu kan pomba na aka mu akwaya ade abetimi abono but ni ti no adwe no as a scar na cover adwe no keke o na adwe no to be exposed nti no betimi accident na bo na adwe no na epie no nti wo de bia wo bo na bo say be losing net function campo etamo kamo na akwane kasa na so ka bi was emi ba no boda most make na wana
pastor for no simon my one see ofuto bi ade ma ahwefo mafuto an say mesemo a condition we no enye ade a yato ama enipa ana say bonsam ya we bia me sure say ese ndro no bebru aba bebre ohonom a betim dia ma betimi abra ano ase nti ne ba no da kwane tini fie ana say bia akra ho ye hye onfa no hospital did you say bon at the end we say conversion will set in and obenyi no na akoda na ade foforo nti me hye bi was a condition men ferry you penifo a omodi penifo tichufo omoji edu o man kan just mo condition bia you never know nti we enye nim kwasa yare fa na bra ade bia mo bia e be mo ne bia onso no beto ne betina ko ni school na edwuma no you are available as it for 3 seconds.
All right, epilepsy no it is not contagious. Contagious say any infectious say bia Ebola, TB ni COVID-19 amba say obowa o yesi obenye bidabi. Epilepsy you have it me no betimi at na diabo means me bi. So my ensuro say be ben omo wo sa epilepsy no. The epilepsy no so enye adwemu it's not a mental illness. But the continuous experience of the seizure no e betimi affect adwenu that could lead to mental illness. So being epilepsy, I don't just say be wa boredom. Though if you are genuine there, but it is not a mental illness, it can be managed. And then also, let us help persons with epilepsy because it could be you, it could be me. Nobody's an exception. It affects all genders, age-related. A bit me affect obia. Anti my own say, omo dear bibintin and say duabo bina omanya sayareno. With good management, you know, people get better and they don't even experience the seizures in their life again. So let us show love, provide support for persons with epilepsy. Now, oda do so a best share on crime say bobody and no do no. Now, with good management, you know, you may even stay for 2 years without having the seizure. And no by bit me say do no yen holding on kakra. Intenya de obe no do no for the rest of your life.
Okay.
It is for a period. So far as there is good management.
Thank you so much for coming today, Madam Asibe. More enlightened, you say, and any answers are Maha any day a health segment ni basi active discussion and then no honorable Samuel Ofosu Ampofo nutrition come with ajenim menajenim to be co-hosting a client to a honorable Samuel Ofosu Ampofo the NDC national chairman ebetutre enkomo my uncle straight to active discussion.